I'm sharing my screen, right? Okay. So this is the one which I created. I'll go to change mode. What is the surprise array? So let me go to source code. I think my data won't be saved the last one. So if size subRC not equal to 0, meaning whatever user has entered the input, if it is not exists in the table, then we will raise an exception. So to raise an exception, we use a keyword raise exception name. So the exception name is no data. No data. And if must be closed by end if. Okay, check. Activate it. Okay, it is activated. Now let me try to execute. So in function model, how do we execute? Similarly, we can execute. And this is our method. So here we can click on execute. So whatever we have the input parameters, it will enable to provide an input here. Suppose we have seen 31, right? So I entered 31. This is the input parameter. So which is enable us to enter the input value. So once we enter the input, we can click on execute. So this is the export parameter, which has the output details. Suppose if I click on this one, do you remember this symbol is indicates it's a work area. In BAPI, when we are tested BAPI, I explained this one. Suppose if I click on that, see, single record is displaying. But end user cannot access SE24 transaction code. So I have written this logic in SE24, right? So end user cannot access this SE24 transaction code. So what we have to do, again, we should call this class into a local program. If you remember, when we created function module, after creation of function module, we called locally in SE38 program. Similarly, global class also, once we created, we can call locally into SE38 program. Because in SE38, we can create the transaction code. So that is the reason once we create the function module or global class, we can call them locally, then we can create the transaction. So that transaction, with the help of the transaction code, user can access it. So I'll go to SE38 transaction code. Z Central test date 05/28 2025 and call global GCL. So click on create and here call global class and select the type as executable program, save it in a package and select the TR. Now here we can call the class. Now, where is this? Here. So we have seen the class and we have seen this methods, this collection of objects. So now I have called the class locally. If I want to call the class locally, should I write everything again? Like whatever I have written in the method? No need to write because here we have one more thing, that is object. Object is nothing but instance of class. Meaning, if you create an object to a class, whatever the objects you created in the class, that can be accessed with the help of object. So as I told you, it is a duplicate copy of class. Instead of creating everything from the scratch, whatever exists in the class, just we can access with the help of an object. So we have to create this object in our program. So before creating, first we need to define it. Like whenever we want to create a parameter, before we pass the value, we used to define the parameter name, like parameters, p kunar, type kunar. Similarly, we can define the object. So to define the object, data, object name. So object name is LO, suppose local. LO is nothing but local. OBJ in the sense object. Type ref2. So if you want to create an object, we have to use a keyword ref2. Ref2 is nothing but it will take the reference. This object will take the reference, because how this object will assign? See, in a program, we can have multiple objects. And in SE24, multiple global classes are there. How can we link these objects with those classes? So with the help of ref2, we can create the link between the class and object. So data LOOBJ. So this is nothing but object name, type ref2. So I want to access this class. I want to access this class. So I should copy this class name and I will write it here. So whenever we are writing the class name with ref2, whatever we have written in this class, that can be accessed with the help of this object. So just we defined object name and it is referring to this class. But right now object is not yet created. Just I'm telling to the system, I have an object. The name is LOOBJ. That should be referred this class. So in this class, whatever I created, that should be referred by this object. So to create the object, we have a statement create object. So object name also I should give. Create object, object name. So once you write this statement, this object will be created. So object is nothing but is an instance of class. So instance is nothing but shortcut, like instead of writing anything from the scratch, directly we are accessing the properties which are existed in this class with the help of this statement type ref2. And we have to create the object. If you remember, in this class, I have used instance method. So if you want to call this instance method, we have to create the object. If it is a static method, no need to create the object. But if it is an instance method, we have to create the object. So that is the reason here I have written create object. And after that, we can call this class into our program. So to call this class, similarly how we did for the function module, we will go to pattern. And here we have to choose this button, radio button, Abap object patterns. So click on this one, and here it is asking class type number. What's happening? One second. So just double click on it. Now it is asking either you want to call a method or create an object, raise an event, raise an exception. So right now, whatever the logic is existed in this class, that I want to execute from local program. So where I have written the logic in this method. If I double click on this method, my logic is existed. So this logic should be executed. So this logic I want to execute it. So to execute this logic, first I need to call this method into my local program. Okay. So this method I have to call into my program. So where is this method existed? In this class. So I'll go to the program. Here instance is there. Let me fill this to first. So class. So what is a class name? You can copy it and write there. So this is the class and method. So in this method, in this class, I have only one method. Suppose if we have multiple methods, we can choose F for help. If multiple methods are there, we can select it. But right now only one method, it was written here. Now class name I have written, method name I have written, then I should write instance. So can anyone tell me what should I write in the place of instance? I want to call a method.
Program name.
What is that?
Object name.
Object name.
Yes, object name, correct. Because we already know whenever we want to call instance method, we will call with the name of object. So that is the reason I created the object with the name LOOBJ. So whatever this class properties are there, this method, whatever I have written the logic, I will access with the help of this object LOOBJ. So instance is nothing but object. So that is the reason I mentioned in the definition, object is nothing but instance of class. So if you see, this is the instance and here class name is there. Right? So here I can write LOOBJ. And once you fill these details, click OK or press enter. See, it's looks similar like function module import export parameters. Now we can pass the parameter values. So like function model, whatever the import parameters are there, those will be converted as exporting parameter whenever we call locally. Similarly, global class, whatever the import parameters are there, those will be changed as export parameter. And whatever the exporting parameters are there, those will be changed as import parameter because we are getting from another program. So that is the reason these two will be exchanged. Now import parameter. So here I am Kunar is there. So this is a mandatory parameter. I should pass the value. So to pass the parameter value, you can go to this class and check the parameter type. So here, if I go to parameter, so what is a I am Kunar parameter type? It is a Kunar, right? So data type is Kunar. So similarly, I should define in my program. So parameter, that is the input parameter. So that is the reason I'm creating parameters here because user has to enter the input value. So to enter the input value, single value, we have a keyword parameters. And here I'm writing P Kunar, type Kunar. So this parameter name I can pass here. So whatever input I will give in this program, it will pass to this method. So it will go inside of this class. And whenever I have executed here, it will enter it here. Indirectly, it will enter the value here. Suppose whenever I execute the program, suppose imagine that I have entered 31. So that 31 will pass to here. Let me go here and let me finish remaining. And let me uncomment remaining things. And exkn1. So if I want to define this parameter, again, I'll go to parameters tab. I have to check the type. So what is the type? kn1. So same type. Always remember, you should define the same type. Otherwise, it will go to runtime error. So data, here I will write with work area like WA kn1 to see the difference between program parameter and global class parameter. Okay. So work area kn1, type kn1. So this I can pass to the next parameter. Suppose if size of bars is not equal to 0, meaning if the data is not found, then I will write a message. Message, no data found. Type E. And if size of bars is not equal to 0, it will write a message. Else, meaning if it found the right data, then I will display with the help of write statement. Whatever the required fields I want to display, that I will write with the help of write statement. Okay, okay, 11. Name one. Okay, okay, 11. OR301. And the one. And then Mhm. Mhm. Postal would be something. Suppose I want to display these 5 fields data. So I have written with the help of write state. So let me save, check, activate. So this message should be maintained either global message class or else you should write in the text element. Remember that. So now I haven't written any select query. Okay, so let me write here defining object, and this is for creating object, and this we are calling the method, calling instance method with the help of object. That's it. So let's check, activate. Let me execute, and after that I will explain how it works. We cannot change it. Text element. Always remember, pass the text element selection text here. So customer number. Wait once again. And here, suppose 31. Uh, so I'll click on execute. So now we can able to see 4 fields data here. And if you see this program, I haven't written any thread query. Just I defined object name and I created the object. I called the method. So for display, I written this one. There is no functionality for select query. Even if I want to write this display functionality, I can write in the class also. Instead of writing in the program, we can also write in the class itself. We can create one more method and we can write this display logic also. So once we call global class into a program, so this program we can create a transaction code, and this transaction code we can give to the end user so they can use. And if you see here, I have created an instance method. So instance method we can call with the help of object. Now whenever we give the input, suppose just now I have given 31 input. Let's let's do let's see in the debugging mode so that you will understand clearly. Suppose I gave 31 input. So I'll choose desktop 3. I'll do F5 because step-by-step process I want to see. Now where we are in SC38 transaction code. If you see report name is there. So this I created in SC38. Now if I do F5, let me double click on P Kunar. So what is a P Kunar? 31 I gave. I am Kunar. Okay, I cannot select this one. Work area. So work area as of now, it's empty. Now I'll do F5. See where it went? It went to global class. Method end method is there. So where we have method and end method in SC24 transaction code. In SC24 transaction code, I have written this logic. So this went to SC24 transaction code. And if I double click on I am Kunar, see I am Kunar is 31. I gave P Kunar as 31. So that was passed to I am Kunar. In the program, let me open one more session and I'll parallelly show you. If you see here, P Kunar, I gave 31. So this is right side. I told you equal symbol right side will be the existing data medium will be there, and left side, which is going to be filled, that made data medium will be there, right? So now P Kunar is filled with 31 and I am Kunar is empty. Once I click on execute, this P Kunar, whatever I gave the input, that will be passed to the left side. So left side I am Kunar is there. So this will go to the global class and it will go inside of this method. It will perform this select query. Suppose if I do F5, so size abarsi as of now it is 0. So it will go to Kenya1 table and it will check Kunar column whether it is having 31 customer number or not. If it is there, now it is there. So if you see, if size abarsi not equal to 0, meaning this customer number is existed. So if it is existed, then we'll come back to the program. See, it came back to the program SC38 again. And it will write these work areas. Suppose if I go here, see the work area is filled now. Earlier it was empty. Once it went to the SC24 transaction code, once it was called the method, it was filled. So in that way, this import and export parameter will be work. Suppose, let me give some random data. So I gave this data. So P Kunar, I gave this one, which is ending with 8054. Now I am Kunar will not be C. So once I do F5, it will go inside of SC24 transaction code. Now see, I am Kunar, whatever the P Kunar value is there, it will pass to import parameter in the method. Suppose if it is existed, this customer number is existed in Kenya1 table, it will display the logic like I have written write statement. Suppose if it is not existed, then see if size abarc not equal to 0. If you look at size abarc is 4. So meaning this customer number is not existed. If it is not existed, what will happen? It will raise the exception. So see size abarc not equal to 0. So it will write a message. Let me come out from that. See, it has written a message, no data found. So in this way, we can call instance method. Suppose I'll change method to static method. So now instance method is there. I'll change to static method and I'll activate this one. Now I'll go to program. This not required. And I'll comment this one also. Here I will call now. Okay. So to call the static method again, ABAP patterns we have to choose. And here no instance because static method we no need to create any object. We can call with the help of class only. Here I will pass same input pkunar and here I will uncomment in exporting and exceptions as well. Work area KNA1 and same logic. If size awards is not equal to 0, then it will display message. If it is existed, then it will display these fields data. Just I commented these logic, what is belongs to the um, object creation. And if you see for instance method, they are calling with the object name and hyphen is there. If we are calling with the class, see here, uh, object name is there. If I want to call instance method, I have called with the help of object. If I want to call static method, see this is the class name. So we are calling with the class name. And here you can see equal symbol is there. So you can recognize whether we are using in the program. Suppose if there is an existing program, if you want to recognize whether they have used instance or static method, you can identify like this. If CL is there, then that is a class. If other than that hyphen with some name is there, that is nothing but it is a object. Here object we use single like hyphen and for class we use equal symbol. let me save and check, activate and execute. Mm, no difference, same data. If I use instance method or static method, same out. But the way we are calling it is different. So let me write here, mm, calling static method. So the differences, few more differences are there. So that we'll see in the coming up classes in detail. But as of now, you should remember how we will call static method and instance method. Okay. So calling static method with the help of class name. So here we have used object name and here we are using class name. If I go to SC24, see, this is my class name. Now let's change the visibility. Public means I told you we can access outside of the class also, meaning outside of SC24. Suppose I'm using private and I'll activate it. Let me come back to the same screen like a refreshment. I haven't changed anything. See, it went to dump because if you see method get data is unknown or protected or private. I am trying to access a method which is belongs to private. So whenever we want to access other than a public method, it will go to dump. We cannot access outside of the class. Suppose if I go inside the program, let me check here itself. See, get data is unknown. It is not recognizing. If it is private or protect, it cannot be recognized. If it is public, then only we can access outside of the class. Suppose even if it is protected also, we will get the same error. Now I'll do again slash n SA38. I'll go to change, check. See, get data is unknown, protected or private. If your method is protected or private, then we cannot access outside of SC24. So SC38 is nothing but outside of SC24 only. So we cannot access those methods. If it is public, then only everyone can access. So let me activate. If I go to the program, I'll do slash in again, like refresh. Now see, there is no error. When I checked, there is no error. It is activated. So these are the visible areas, 3, public, private, protected. And these are the two methods, two levels of methods, instance and static. And the way we are calling is different, static and instance method. So till here, do you have any doubts?